What's up, everyone? Good afternoon and happy almost Friday. I got Zoe here with me, and today I pretty much just wanted to talk to you a little bit, kind of introduce myself to those of you who are maybe new here, talk about what it is that I do and why I do that. So, for those of you who are new here, my name is Laura. I'm a women's personal trainer and health coach, and I have been doing that for about 3 years-ish, 2.5, something like that. Anyway, my business is called Happy, Healthy, Sexy, Confident, and I do just that. My whole mission is to help women feel healthier, happier, sexier, and more confident in their bodies and in their life just overall. I'm really, really passionate about helping women in that way. Hey, Brandon. Very passionate about helping women in that way and just giving back to something that's bigger than myself. So I actually went to school for psychology. I wanted to become a therapist. It was either I was going to become a therapist or a social worker. And then I got more involved in fitness and health type things. And I found that I'm very passionate about that. And I really wanted to be able to share that with other people. And then just kind of thinking about where I've come from in my life, which I'm going to talk to you guys about today too. I just felt that I could better use my experiences and be better able to serve others through fitness and through nutrition and just lifestyle management as opposed to something more psychology based, if that makes sense. So for those of you who are new here, who aren't new here, I've shared my story here multiple times, kind of like here and there I share it. I don't share it all the time, constantly, because it is somewhat heavy and I don't want this to be a negative space. I want to just have a page that's full of positivity and motivation and uplifting stuff. And I feel that my story is just a little bit like extreme. So I'll share bits and pieces of it here and there, but I don't often go into the full-blown explanation just because I don't want this to be a depressing place. But today I wanted to hop on because I feel like I should share my story with you, especially for those of you who are new here and don't know who I am or what it is that I'm doing and why. So I want to talk about that. So I made a really, really long post about this today in my VIP group. So if you've seen me posting about like my happy coffee, my dose, my health coaching stuff, I actually have a group for that. So if you are interested in any of that stuff, you can be in that group. But basically, I have overcome a lot of stuff, and I feel like that's important, not because I care about, having a sob story or wanting people to feel sorry for me. That's not what it's about for me. I don't want that, actually. If anything, I want you guys to know that I'm in an awesome spot right now in my life. I'm feeling great. I'm the happiest that I have ever been. I am the healthiest that I have ever been. And I want to share that with you. I want to share with you guys how I even got to that point, because there's a lot, and there's a lot that goes into that, and I think that sometimes people will be very depressed. Hey, Alexia. Hey, Amanda. Thank you guys for hopping on. I think that people will be very depressed or, going through a really rough spot in their lives, and they feel like it's just impossible to bounce back from that, and they feel like it's almost impossible to see the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes, and I know that because I've totally been there. I was one of those people who was so depressed that, people would tell me, cheer up or focus on positive things, or, you got to manifest positivity into your life. It's your choice that you're depressed. And I thought they were crazy. Like, none of that made any sense to me. And I truly used to feel like a victim in my life. Hey, Melissa. So it took a lot of learning and understanding about life and myself. Sorry, I got a puppy at my feet. Zoe. To be able to overcome that stuff and kind of come out where I am today. So I guess let me backtrack now, and I'll kind of tell you from the beginning, kind of my situation and my story, and what it is that helped me feel better and make me be this happy person today. So there's a lot, and it's kind of complicated, and like I said, it is a little bit heavy. If you are somebody who has struggled with any kind of eating disorder or self-harm or abuse, especially sexual abuse, I will caution you that some of the stuff that I talk about might be a little bit triggering. I just know I'd want to have that warning if I was going to be listening to something like this, so just a heads up. But basically, Zoe, I need you to stop, or you're going to get kicked out. You're going to get kicked out. Yes, you are. I know, you're really cute, but you're going to get kicked out. Sorry, guys, I got a puppy on my feet, and she's biting me while I'm trying to talk to you about the serious stuff. So basically, I have struggled with depression and anxiety pretty much my entire life. I feel like that's just something that I have genetically, that I probably inherited from my parents. Neither of my parents, I don't think they were actually diagnosed as having anything, but my dad was an alcoholic. So, I mean, come on. And my mom definitely has some anxiety, and she also struggled with some stuff in her life and has struggles with PTSD as well. Zoe, you're going to have to go outside, but... So, I was kind of raised in that environment where people weren't super positive all the time. My dad was also very emotionally abusive when he was drinking, and he would drink all the time, all day. So that was something that I grew up with as well. There was some physical abuse in the house. It wasn't anything like crazy or out of hand, and it wasn't directed towards me specifically, but that was something that I was raised in that environment. You know, when you're raised in an environment and you're already predisposed to having anxiety and depression, and then you're raised in an environment where there's yelling and screaming and crying and door slamming all the time from morning to night, that wreaks havoc on your body, that wreaks havoc on your mind. And like I said, I feel like I was truly predisposed to having these issues in my life already, and then to grow up in that environment, I feel like it definitely helped bring it to the surface. On top of that, I was pretty much bullied in school all the way from literally like preschool, and I'm not exaggerating because I remember that, all the way from preschool all the way through high school. So that was kind of ongoing. Not that I'm saying that's an excuse. Again, like, I'm not crying about it. I feel like bullying is just a part of society today, unfortunately. But that was something that I was dealing with. As well as just body image issues and perfectionism issues. So I've always been very type A, very perfectionistic, always wanting to please people, always wanting to give like 110% to everything. And I would be very, very hard on myself if things were not 110%. Even like 100% didn't feel perfect to me. I felt like I wanted to do better than everyone else. I wanted to give more than everyone else. I wanted to be the one that was given all the recognition. So it's very competitive, right? I think my parents actually kind of helped raise me to be that way too. They always had me in sports. They wanted me to be, a straight A student, and I was all the way up until my very last semester in college. Hey, Katie. And it was just a lot of pressure. I felt like they did put a lot of pressure on me, but I'm definitely also acknowledging that as almost a good thing, because I think if it wasn't for them raising me the way that they did, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. So I definitely value them, and I respect the lessons that I was learned as a child. I do feel like they went a bit overboard sometimes, but I know that nobody is perfect, and I'm not trying to blame my parents for anything. I'm not trying to blame any of my experiences for anything either, so please don't get me wrong when it comes to any of that stuff. But, so basically, I don't know what specific age I was when this all started, but I had body image issues from a very, very young age, like in elementary school. Literally 4th and 5th grade, I remember having issues with food and feeling like I was fat and feeling insecure in my body and insecure in clothes. And I would do all sorts of weird stuff, like not eat lunch and stuff food in my pockets and go eat it in the bathroom when no one was looking. I'd eat it in the bathroom at school. I would save it and then come home and eat it in my closet when no one was looking. I would just do like weird stuff, and it wasn't like every single day or all the time. I didn't know what eating disorders were. I didn't know what anorexia was. I didn't know all that. Nobody talks to you about that in elementary school. At least nobody talked to me about that when I was in elementary school. But I would kind of do weird stuff like that. And then when I got to middle school, I met like a whole new group of kids. I switched schools, went to a different school. And I learned about purging because I was in the bathroom one day while somebody was doing that. And I was like, oh no, are you okay? Are you sick? Do you want me to get someone? And they're like, no, don't tell anybody. And they were like freaking out. I was like, why? I didn't understand. And then they told me, basically about bulimia, which is what that was. So I was never bulimic, but I was diagnosed as anorexic in middle school. I think I was like 13 or 14 when that happened. So basically my food issues just kind of like progressed on their own. I wasn't really consciously thinking about it, but like I told you, I was very competitive. I was very perfectionistic. I wanted to be the best at everything, and controlling food and controlling my weight and my physical appearance was kind of a way that I found control in other areas of my life, because I very much felt out of control when it came to pretty much mostly my home situation. I just felt like it was a chaotic environment. I don't know what else. Maybe there's other things. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but I've learned a lot about this stuff over the years just from experiencing it and having, gone to treatment and recovery and all of that. But definitely felt out of control in my life and wanted to get a sense of control back. I very much hated myself. I hated my physical body. I hated pretty much everything about me. I talked down to myself all the time. If it wasn't that, I wasn't doing good enough on a project for school, or I wasn't a good enough friend, or nobody wants to hang out with me because I'm the weird one, or whatever. I don't know. I said pretty much everything you can think of to myself, and I just put myself down constantly. So pretty much by the time I was 14, 15 years old, my weird eating issues had progressed into full-blown anorexia. So, and then it got to the point, I think the lowest amount that I was eating in a day was 100 calories, maybe, if I had that much. I think the lowest amount I've ever had in a day is I ate a strawberry one day, and that was it, and I was super proud of myself, which is super sad, but I want you guys to really understand where I'm coming from. And the lowest weight that I was, and right now I'm 5'1". Pretty much have been this height for quite a while now. I was 5 foot all the way through high school, so I don't know when I grew an inch, but my lowest weight at 5 feet was 89 pounds, and I was trying to go lower, but by that point I was in treatment, and they were watching my weight, and they were very on top of whether I was gaining or losing. So during this time, also in middle school, I began self-harming. So I would actually cut myself. I would burn myself all over my body all the time, constantly. Like my entire arm would be full of this, my sides, places where people wouldn't see it, because obviously I wasn't trying to draw attention to myself. But I was very much struggling with depression, you guys. Like I was just in a very, very low place in my life. And I don't feel that I was getting affection from places I probably should have been getting affection from. I was talking down to myself, I was dealing with the bullying. And then in middle school, I was also molested at school. A guy actually ripped open my shirt and, so that happened. And I didn't tell anybody that for, I think, at least a year, because I was so ashamed and I felt like it was my fault. So all of these things just kind of, if you leave these types of things alone and you don't address them and handle them the right way from the beginning, then they escalate and then they snowball into bigger and bigger problems. So my depression got a lot worse. My eating disorder got a lot worse. The self-harm became to, not only was I physically harming myself, but, when I became an adult and I had credit cards and I had money, then I was, spending excessively. And, I would blow $500, $600 in one sitting, alone at night, binging on I'd eat the whole pint of Ben & Jerry's at the same time, and then I would throw it up after. Hey, Dina. Yes, thank you for the hearts. Hey, Rachel. Thank you guys for hopping on and supporting me. So it just got really bad, you guys. And so, like I said, I did go to therapy. I did go and get treatment. I actually was the one who asked for help. I was very smart as a kid. I was very nerdy, and I loved psychology stuff from a young age. So I was reading books on this type of stuff, and that's how I learned that I actually had depression. Nobody told me that, but that's how I learned that I had depression. That's how I learned what anorexia was, and was like, oh, shoot, But I started therapy when I was in middle school for the depression, for the self-harm. I was put on medication in 9th grade. I remember that. And they would put me on one thing and it wouldn't be enough. So they'd bump it up and put me on more and more things. I ended up getting off of medication by the time I got out of high school. I went to a whole outpatient treatment center for my eating disorder in high school. I think it was my last 2 or 3 years of that. And then by the time I got out of high school, kind of my beginning years in college, I would say that I was recovered from my eating disorder. Which was awesome. I actually had a best friend in high school who also battled an eating disorder. He was also bipolar, and he struggled with high-functioning autism as well. He actually ended up losing his life. He actually took his own life our first year getting out of high school, so that was really hard on me as well. But, you know, these are things, like, life happens. Like, nobody has a perfect life. And I'm not trying to say that, like, my situation is so horrible, like, oh, feel sorry for me. I know everybody goes through something. Everyone has their own struggles. This is just kind of what I was going through. So, anyways, went on to college, whatever, was, you know, trying to progress in my life, going to school for psychology. And then I got into fitness. And mainly because I started dating a guy who was into fitness. And I wanted to impress him. So I went to the gym, didn't know what the heck to do at the gym, got a personal trainer. One thing led to another. I ended up switching and working with a competition coach, which was really cool. And I was excited and started prep for my first competition. And that was about 3 or 3.5 years ago or so. So he actually ended up date raping me. It was like we were coaching, and then it kind of escalated into like a flirting situation. He ended up asking me out, and I'm feeling he must have like spiked my drink or something. I'm not really sure. But I spent the whole weekend with him pretty much like under the influence and going in and out like the whole time. Like I don't even remember half of that weekend. And I didn't even acknowledge that what happened until like several weeks after, and I didn't tell anybody for several days after because I was just very confused and kind of shocked, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, that pretty muit's brought my life to a halt at that point. So I had been doing so well, recovering from the eating disorder. You know, I was working. I think at this point I was working like 3 jobs, so it was crazy. And going to school, and then I was going to dance practice, so my life was super busy, and then that happened, and I just kind of froze. And then shortly after, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. He ended up passing away shortly after. I never told him what happened because he was already dealing with so much stuff. I didn't want to put that on him. But I did tell my mom. I told a couple close friends of mine. And I just kind of like powered through it because like I told you guys, like I was always very hard on myself, and I don't believe in the mentality of life gets hard, then you quit. I feel like any situation, and I learned this from a young age too, probably because my parents like ingrained this belief into me. Any situation that happens to you in your life, like you get up and you keep going no matter what. And whatever happens, like God wouldn't give you something unless he knew that you could get through it. So Christianity and my faith is also very important to me in getting me through some of this stuff. But so after that happened, I want to say like it was several months of me just kind of being like in a funk and frozen. I did slightly relapse into my eating disorder, nothing crazy, but definitely felt that coming back up, which was really scary for me. I went back to therapy. I decided I needed to go back to therapy. Not for you. Sorry, I got puppy right here. Decided I needed to go back to therapy. I started getting myself into personal development stuff, reading a lot more books again, which is something that I had loved to do, you know, growing up, and then had kind of fallen off track because I got so busy with life. But I got really into personal development. I got more and more into the fitness stuff, and I actually used like nutrition, like actually getting on a formal nutrition plan through something else I was working with online and working out at home to get myself back up. Because it was not okay that I was sitting there frozen, feeling sorry for myself and not doing anything. Like I had stuff that needed to get done. So I didn't have time for my life to be frozen. You know what I mean? So pretty much pushed myself. Was really hard on myself, honestly. Like I was not very nice to myself during this time, which probably wasn't good, but it's okay. So let's see. So then I decided that at this point, I was struggling with school because of everything going on. It was crazy. So I actually ended up flunking out of my last semester at school too, which was really hard because I was always a straight A student all the way up to that point. Pretty much crashed and burned. My last semester, where I would be graduating with my bachelor's, I walked in everything, and then they told me that I basically didn't pass that last semester. But like I said, I was getting into the fitness and everything, so I decided, you know, I can still help people, and that's what was helping me get out of my struggle. So I decided to, you know, if I could help myself through health and fitness, then I can help other people through health and fitness too. So that's when I decided to invest in myself and become a personal trainer. I got certified as a personal trainer and as a health coach, really not at the exact same time, but very, very close together. And my family didn't really support that. They thought that was like a job and not a career. So I pretty much had to invest in myself for that, but it was totally worth it, and I'm so glad that I did it. But that kind of helped get me to where I am today here too, which is awesome. Let me see really quick. Comments. Yes, Dina, 100%. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hey, Becca. Thank you guys for hopping on. So let's like skip a couple steps here. Pretty much after that happened, which like I said was about 3.5 years ago, I decided to get my life back on track, started going back to the gym, started like no more excuses. I needed to get my life back together. I needed to keep moving forward and not let this hold me back forever. So I decided to do that. I became a personal trainer. I started working at a gym. Things were pretty awesome. But I did acknowledge the fact that I was still feeling very weighed down heavily by stuff around me. And I just felt like this, I don't know, just like this nagging feeling in my gut, like I need to get the heck out of here. I can't be at this place anymore. So I left. Actually about 6 months ago, I moved from California to Florida by myself. My mom came with me. It was like a road trip thing, and it was really fun. She helped me move, but I'm living here by myself. And I didn't have any friends out here. I knew my ex, but that's it. My ex and his family, but besides that, I was pretty much on my own. And for a little bit, I was doing really good, you guys, and it was awesome. And I felt like, man, this is the high point of my life. New place, new job. It's awesome. Life is great. And then I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I just got really depressed out of nowhere. And I don't know if it's because I was lonely because I'm out here by myself, or, situations at my job because my new job turned out to not be a healthy place for me. My boss is really mean, and there was just some other stuff going on, but whatever. But I did end up really depressed. And I became very stressed and very overworked. So at this point, I was already kind of doing my own health coaching stuff online. I was working on another direct sales business online. I was working at the gym, commuting, trying to move, got a puppy, was trying to raise this puppy by myself. And I was just super stressed, and I wasn't sleeping. Maybe getting like 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night. I was really moody all the time. I was really irritable. I was getting all these headaches. And that's another thing too, is that I had actually struggled with like chronic headaches, I think from stress, so probably stress and starvation, like all through middle school and high school. And then in high school, I started getting migraines all the time. And they would be these ocular migraines where I see like these little dots. And it was like when you look in the sun and then you look away and you get those little dots. It would be like that. And then it would like spread over my eyes, and I'd be not like blind. I mean, I could see, but it's like I had these sunspots or something in my eyes. And then, I get the searing pain right here, and then I feel sick to my stomach. And I would still like make myself go to work and make myself go to school, but I get those in clusters. So I'd be trying to recover from one migraine, and then a couple days later, because my migraines always would last for several days. I think I was starting to recover from one, I get another one. And then at the same time, I was getting headaches, like all over. So it was just a mess. So those were coming back, and it was really bad. And then I actually started to get these really bad, and I don't know what they were, but these like really bad physical aches and pains all over, like my whole body. And it got to the point that I would be at work at the gym sometimes, and I wouldn't be able to stand. Be sitting there trying to coach a client or coach a group class, and I would actually have to kneel. I just couldn't, like it hurt so bad, like I just couldn't stand. And then there'd be times I'd be trying to coach clients, holding the weights and trying to show them an exercise. And my hand it would not let me grip the weight. And I thought that was so weird. And I was like, what the heck is going on with me? And it just, everything hurt. Everything. Like emotionally, physically, it felt like everything hurt. Everything was a mess. I couldn't stand it. Not that I hated my life. I'm not going to say that. But I was very, very depressed. I was very anxious. I was crying all the time. I was not sleeping. I was stressed. It was so bad. It was so bad. So I was at that point where I'm like, man, I'm going to have to go back on medication. Like, there is no way. I can't live like this. So that's kind of the route I was headed. I actually decided to go back to therapy because, I know it's good to have somebody to talk to. I was still reading the personal development stuff. I was still trying to stay on top of all of that. But I was about to go back on medication. And that was part of, I felt like going to see a therapist. That would be part of the next step, which would be medication. But at that time, hey Becca, hey Demetrius, hey Sydney. At that time, I'm in the direct sales world, kind of doing my thing on here, and somebody was posting about like this happy coffee stuff constantly, and I was like, what is that? And at this point, I'm desperate because I have tried everything. Like I told you guys, I was on medication before, and they upped it to the point they could no longer up it. So then they were giving me allergy pills on top of that to knock me out. And I ended up getting off of it because it wasn't even helping. In the end, it wasn't helping. And then I was in therapy and that wasn't helping. And then as a personal trainer, I have, my body's like my resume. So I'd be eating clean. I was working out regularly. I was very physically active my whole life. And none of these things were helping. And they always say it's supposed to help. So I was really frustrated. And I was mad because this stuff is supposed to help me and it's not. So I figured, I saw this girl posting about this happy coffee stuff or whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I might as well. Why not, right? So I tried it. And I got it strictly for the anxiety and depression because that's what she was sharing that it helped with, and that's what I felt my main concern was. And I figured, all the other stuff, I can deal with that later. So within my first try of this stuff, which I was kind of nervous to take because, it's a supplement, anything you're ingesting. I've always been kind of, cautious with that type of stuff. So I was really nervous, but I was researching it, couldn't hear anything bad. So I gave it a shot. I definitely noticed within minutes that I felt pretty darn good, and it was awesome. It was kind of weird. I had to double check all the stuff I was researching because I was wondering if I was high. I'm like, what's going on right now? I'm so confused. So I definitely just felt kind of just an overall sense of calm. I didn't feel anxious that whole rest of the day. I felt just pretty content, and it was weird. And so, I was like, okay, that's weird. I'm going to keep taking this, for a few more days and see what happens, because I almost thought maybe it's a placebo effect. You want something to work so badly that even if it's not actually working, you want to make yourself believe that it is, right? So I kept taking it just to see what would happen. And, a couple of weeks later, it was consistent. I was constantly feeling good. And it wasn't crazy. I wasn't elated. I wasn't spinning or, super manic or anything like that. I just felt good. I just felt calm. These things that were normally bothering me were not bothering me. I noticed I was sleeping better. I would get on the phone with my mom, because we're long distance now, and I would talk to her all the time. And I'd be like, I don't know what's going on, but it's so weird. I was in this situation where normally I'd get really bad road rage, or, normally Zoe would be chewing the walls and I'd get pissed. And I just wasn't. I was cool. And it was so weird. And it got me so excited. So I was like, I got to share this stuff with people because this is crazy. I've never felt this way my entire life. I've struggled with depression and anxiety my entire life, and I've never felt this good, ever. So I decided to give it a shot, signed up with a company, and now here I am sharing it with you guys. But then it was really interesting because, like I said, I got this stuff strictly for my anxiety and depression. But then I noticed, a few weeks later, that I hadn't had a headache in a while and that my body wasn't hurting as much. I'm not going to say it completely relieved my aches and pains because even now I still struggle with that a little bit, but I am also very physically active and very hard on my body, so that probably has something to do with it. But I noticed it wasn't as bad. And even now, so I started taking these products back in March. I think it was in March. And I haven't had a headache since. I have not had a single migraine since. I'm not on any other kinds of medications. The only supplements I'm on are multivitamins and stuff for my fitness. So I thought that was interesting. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting is that I've always been a stress eater, right? I mentioned to you guys that I had an eating disorder. I have a history of severely restricting, hardcore restricting, and then binging and then purging for many, many years. But then on top of that, a lot of the binges would be, they would come up because of stress, basically. Either I'd be really lonely or really sad all of a sudden or whatever. And so I would turn to food, and food was always comfort for me. And if it wasn't food, it was alcohol. And if it wasn't that, it was shopping. It was always something because I never properly learned how to comfort myself or how to, go to a friend or a family member for comfort. I never learned how to do that. So I use things to fill the void, right? So that's something that, even now today I'm still working on, but that's something that, through therapy and through treatment for my eating disorder, I had to learn how to do, and through reading books, which is why I'm such a firm believer in personal development. You guys, you need to be doing personal development. Even if you think your life is awesome, you still need to be doing it. But anyway, so I would get these cravings all the time, right? And I noticed that I wasn't getting them anymore. And now, because now it's been obviously a while longer, it's August now actually. Occasionally I'll kind of man, I really want some ice cream, or man, I could really go for some chips right now. But it doesn't feel out of control. So for anybody who has dealt with cravings before, right, Becca, right? Cravings can be awful. It can be like, it makes you feel crazy almost because you want something so bad and it doesn't feel like you can just turn it off and, use logic and tell yourself you don't need it or whatever, you can have it later. No, like I would become like a whole different animal. Like I'd get really, really hangry even if I wasn't hungry. And I would have to have it. I would do whatever it took to get that food item. I'd get a bunch of it and I'd eat it all at one time and I would eat until I felt sick and then I would just keep going. And then sometimes I'd even drink. I'd add alcohol to that mix just so that I could not feel as bad about eating more when I knew I didn't need to, if that makes sense. And then afterwards you feel so awful, you feel so guilty, right? And then I'm over here trying to work on fitness stuff, right? I want to get like my body to where I want it to be. And so I would beat myself up for, messing up and going on this binge and giving into the craving. Yeah, so appetite can be part of stuff too, Becca. It can be part of depression, if you struggle with anxiety, if you have stress in your life in general, or otherwise you might honestly just have like some sort of nutrient deficiency. But if that's something you want to talk about, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Yeah, but just let me know and we can always talk about this stuff. Or I can do another video and address that topic if you'd like me to. So anyways, like I said, I just thought that was interesting. Like I wasn't having these cravings anymore. I wasn't having these headaches anymore. My aches and pains were so much less. I wasn't depressed. I was actually enjoying my life. And honestly, if I have to think about like the best way to describe it, it's almost like I felt like a kid again. If you think about a kid and they're just kind of carefree and they're living their life and they're not really concerned about what happens tomorrow or next year. They're not stressing about money, or what people think about them. They're just living their life. I started to feel like that again. And that's amazing because I have never felt like that my entire life. So that's pretty much why I share this happy coffee stuff that I share with you guys now, because I'm taking it regularly every single day. It has helped me tremendously, and it's helping so many other people in such big ways. And obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I can't prescribe anything to you. This is not like a medication. It's nothing like that. It's pretty much just a product that elevates your happy hormones in your body, which for those of you who are not familiar, this is not all of the happy hormones, but this is 4 of them: dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, and serotonin. Okay, so that's a lot of things that control your mood, your emotional stability, your appetite, if you're struggling with appetite. I know someone was mentioning that. If you're struggling with chronic pain, if you struggle with like breakouts or skin issues, like it controls so many aspects in your life. And I just did a video on this like a couple days ago if you want to scroll down and check that one out. But this is why I'm sharing it with you guys, because I came from a place where I felt like my life, not like my life was over, but I felt like a complete zero in my life. I was so depressed. I was so unhappy. To now I feel the best that I've ever felt. And I feel like on top of the world, you guys. And obviously my life is not perfect. I definitely still have stressors. I'm an adult. I'm a normal person. We all have that. I'm not going to say that this stuff is going to like cure your whole life and everything will be miraculous. But I definitely feel that if you are struggling with something, this absolutely can help. Or is most likely to help. Obviously, we're all different, so we have different things that we need help with or whatever. If you want to have a conversation about this for your specific concerns, we can absolutely do that. Just let me know. Or like I said, if you guys ever want me to make a video on something specific, I can do that as well. But I just feel like I have to share this with you guys. And if you are struggling with something and you have tried all the things, just like I have tried all the things and nothing is working and you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling hopeless, I would really strongly encourage you to at least give it a shot, because you never know. Like I didn't know. It was a last ditch effort. Like I was just kind of like not really expecting it to work, to be honest. I was kind of rolling my eyes when I saw this girl posting about it, because as somebody who actually studies nutrition, I'm like, yeah, right, like a coffee is going to make my life better. Yeah, right. But it does, and it has, and I am just a much better person for it. I'm a much happier person for it, and I feel like I am much better able to serve you guys now because of it, which is awesome, and that means everything to me. So yeah, if that's something you're talking about, Becca, I can actually message you and give you a little bit more information. But if it's something that you guys are interested in trying, I do have samples available if you want to just taste it, make sure it doesn't like interfere with your body in any kind of weird ways. If you want to try, like, we have 6-day samplers available where you can get the product for 6 days. that would actually give you more of an opportunity to feel the effects from it. Because like I said, for me, it was pretty much instantaneous, but it's not like that for everybody, right? For some people, it might take a few days. So there's 6-day samplers available. Otherwise, you can do what I do, just get on the monthly supply and whatever, be good. But anyways, if you guys have any questions about it, please let me know. I pretty much just wanted to hop on here, not only to share the product with you. I do think it's an amazing product. It has changed my life. But also to share with you that I came from like a 0 to a 10, pretty much. And I want to show you that it's possible for that to happen if that's something you're struggling with. I want to let you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel if you're struggling with something, if you're unhappy, if you're depressed, if you're going through just like a tremendous amount of pain in your life. I understand. I want you to know that you're not alone and that life does get better. And if you are struggling with anything very severe, I mean, if you've ever contemplated suicide or hurting yourself or anything crazy like that, I want you to know, really, I'm not just saying that life does get better. And I wish I could like go back in time and, save my friend, my friend who lost his life. I really wish I could. And just show him the me of the future, because he and I were both at the very same, the same point in our lives, except that I chose to go one direction and he took it in another direction, and he didn't make it because of that. So, please just take this to heart, take everything I'm saying to heart, have hope for your life. If you're struggling, reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. Therapy is awesome, you guys. It's nothing to be ashamed of if you feel like you need to go to therapy. Personal development is huge. There's tons of resources out there. There's plenty of books that you can read. I love books. If you want some recommendations, let me know and I can share with you. But there's also plenty of other free resources, right? Even here just on Facebook, or if you go on YouTube, you can search up anything and I guarantee you can find something that can help you in your current situation. But if you all ever just feel like you want someone to talk to, I'm here too. My inbox is always open. I'm happy to talk. No judgment whatsoever. Because I feel like I've seen all sides of the circle. I've seen all sides of the circle, and I don't judge anyone, and I don't think that's fair to do that. But I just want to be that person to show other people that there is that light at the end of the tunnel, that life can be better, that it is possible to come from a place of hating yourself, of feeling weak, of feeling insecure, just like any negative word you could possibly think of, and it's possible to bounce back from that and be the complete opposite. So that's why I hopped on today to share this with you. And I know this was super long and drawn out. Definitely did not mean to make it this long. So if you actually hung out and watched this whole thing, thank you for that. I appreciate your time. And if you're catching on this replay, you know what to do. #replay in the comments. Let me know. If you're on here now, let me know where you're watching from, because I love to see where I'm connecting with everyone from. And if you know anybody that this could help, I would strongly urge you to share this video, just so, other people, if they're struggling with something, they don't have to be interested in the happy coffee or whatever. That's fine. If you're interested in it, that's awesome. Let me know. But, just the whole overall message of this video, if you know of anyone that this could help, please do share this with them. Let's make sure other people know that they're not alone and that there is light at the end of the tunnel, okay? Otherwise, with that being said, it's pretty much all I had to share with you guys today. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. We're almost to Friday. Hang in there. It's coming. And just stay positive, you guys. Stay positive. Stay focused on having a happy life, and you will have a happy life, okay? I love you all, and I appreciate your support, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.